Ready, Freddy.
Hello, and welcome to our podcast. Okay, let's start. We're going to be discussing episode 8 and 9 today. So we're going to start with episode 8, which was See You When You Get Back. And that's something that Toru said. So we start the episode off, and they are talking about New Year's plans. Is Toru and her friends, right? We're talking, we're coming back from school, I'm guessing, or something. I don't know. Toru says that her grandpa and their family or whatever are gonna go to Hawaii, and she's gonna stay. So she's gonna ask Shigure if it's okay if she can stay in the house for New Year's, right? Her friends kind of offer, they're like, oh, well, I mean, you can stay with us. We can do something together, or they try to give her some alternatives, but she refuses, and she's like, nah, it's all cool. So she just wants them to spend time with with their families. But to me, the way that she was a little bit too cheery for me. Even for her, I feel like she was just jumping, and she's like, no, it's okay, da, 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 da. And then she goes and runs and jumps around or something. Anything you noticed in this first?
Well, I felt, because even one of the friends, which one is the one that can sense the energy?
Hana-chan?
Mm-hmm. Hana. She even said that she senses agitation on her, on her waves. I just felt like sometimes she was overcompensating, because I mean, we know that she's someone that really cares or values her family. So then it must hurt, or it must feel like a certain type of way, that it's a New Year's celebration. It's the first one that she spends it without her mom.
Yes.
Yeah, so the first one that she's not with someone really, really important. So then the next person that is that important will be the grandpa, right?
Family-wise, yeah.
Family-wise. Because we know, the interaction, the little bit of interaction that we see with the other, with the aunt and the cousins, or the cousin, it didn't seem that they're that, close. So I'm just assuming the grandpa. So it's they didn't even make the attempt, oh yeah, we're gonna go to this place. At least from the grandpa. For whatever reason, I know, maybe he has a valid excuse, maybe it wasn't his choice, but whatever. So she's gonna spend it alone.
I was just thinking, I don't know if they didn't ask her. I would just think that she wouldn't go because she would like to pay for herself, the way that she's just
but both ways, even if it's by choice or by not being offered. I was just going more of not being offered, because the time that they had to leave for the remodeling of the house, they didn't offer her to go with her, with them, I mean.
True.
So I was basing it on that. So then I'm assuming for vacation's sake, probably she they also didn't offer. But even if it was her choice because she wants to pay for herself, it's still it hurts. She must feel some type of way that she's gonna be by herself, but obviously she doesn't want to be a burden on other people. Mm-hmm. The same reason why she didn't ask her friends if she could stay when she didn't have a home.
Yeah.
So that way maybe I was thinking oh, she's doing, oh yeah, I'm fine, just so they wouldn't notice that maybe she wasn't that okay with it. Maybe.
Okay.
Because
so
she did came off a little too hyper. I'm trying to convince you that I'm okay, and I'm really happy. Yeah, I'm excited. That's how I felt it.
Okay, so then we have the opening after we see that they're at home and they're cleaning out the house because they have this thing of called New Year's cleaning kind of thing. So Yuki makes a comment about Toru, how he has been living with her for a few months now, I think, and still does not fully understand her and the way that she is, because she always just seems so happy even after everything that she has been through and all the hardships that have come in her life that he has seen. He just doesn't get why she's always that optimistic and that cheery. Mm-hmm. That's something that he mentions.
Yeah, that she sees the world happy, everything for her is happy. She chooses to see everything happy.
Yeah. And And then we also see Toru actually asking Shigure about like, hey, is it okay if I stay because my grandpa won't be here, so I need somewhere to stay? And he said, yeah, but they are actually supposed to go back to the main house because that's just part of their tradition. They have to go back to the main house to report and then celebrate with the other zodiac signs.
The exclusive dinner.
Yep, this goes like the banquet. We hear from Yuki and for Kyo that they do not want to go. They're like, I don't want to go. They like Yuki hasn't been there in like a while. Like he's like, I don't want to go back there. Kyo doesn't really see a point of going either. Toru kind of like convincing, like I mean, they talk a little bit. Sorry, before we get there, talk a little bit about like the banquet. What is it? Banquet. Yeah, about what it is and how it's only exclusive only to the zodiac signs. The Kyo can't go. He's not allowed to go in. That's another thing that.
So then, for the New Year celebration, you know how it's like a family tradition, as like something that they're expected to go. If he since Kyo is not allowed to go to the special dinner or the exclusive dinner, like would it be the same problem if he doesn't go out to the celebration compared to Yuki, that he actually has to attend like a more intimate, like private celebration that is closer to Akito, which is the main person in the family?
That's
like, do they have the same expectation of like who is showing up and who's not?
Yeah, I think to a point he might, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to a point, I think that they are expected to go because that's something that Shigure says, like they have to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not because of Akito per se, like specifically because it can be like, I mean, yeah, he won't even be in the celebration part, so it could be maybe his family or someone that he lives with, or yeah, like Kagura, like that's the one they bring up. They're like, well, Kagura wants to see you, and if you don't go, she's gonna be really upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the example they used. There could be something else, but they don't really say why he has to go besides that. But maybe it is an expectation just in general for like all the Soma clan to be in there. We don't know. They didn't really say that though. That's interesting. But then Toru says that she kind of like convinces them, right, to like go anyway. She's like, haven't seen your parents in a while. Probably need to go see them. Like you never know. That's the thing. Like she's just like it's the same thing that she did with Uo-chan and Hana, where she just kind of guilted them almost, but in a nice way into it. And then they're like, okay, I'll go, I guess. And then she's like, don't worry about me. I can take care of this. Like this, she did this whole thing again with this extra optimism and extra energy of like, I'll be okay, which they actually don't see as much through it as like Hana did. They're like, oh, okay, I guess she'll be all right. Probably she could have did, I would say so. But didn't really see through that. They were just like, okay, she got it. Let's go.
But it's funny because in that scene, isn't she like, she promises she'll be okay, she'll take care of the home. But then I think she forgets something in the stove, or she forgets to
turn off the water from the tub.
Oh, from the tub, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not convincing.
Yeah. I mean, she's super clumsy, and she's like, there's something like they bring up in a little bit too. If we jump to like when they're actually walking, they're actually talking about like all these things that she could be doing that could be dangerous, potentially dangerous for her. Like they're like, oh, what if a burglar comes by? Like she'll probably invite him in and like treat him to some tea and stuff, like, because she is that kind of person that just wants to see the best in people. And also she doesn't like, she's really clumsy and forgetful. So that's something that they are worried about. So that's something that we see the next day. And also in the next day we see this little mini scene. Akito and Hattori, and then we just see Akito just walking like outside and like to like this nice designed, what is it, like, I don't even know what it's called. It's like the sand thing. I don't know, I've seen it in some places. He just walks through it, and then Hattori makes a comment about his health, and then Akito is like, it's been a long time since I haven't seen Yuki, and that's pretty much the scene. So we don't really get that much from him here. It's just a little note that he's probably excited in a way, or like he's anticipating
the dinner, yeah. Oh, the New Year celebration.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention, because I did forget to mention this in the other one. So we see Akito here. We see how kind of a little bit more about what he looks like. And I remember you said that for Hattori's backstory, you didn't know who that. No, it was not Captain Spike Story. It was the one before that. Oh, it was like the one where the friends go over and Shigure excuses himself because he goes to see Akito, but you didn't know who it was at that time. And then that's the person that's like, I always ask for the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to clarify that was Akito. This has all been the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then hopefully we get like a good introduction of him soon. So let's go. Yeah, like so they are talking about Toru on the way to the main house.
I would think so. They're going to
The main house.
the main house. Aren't they supposed to be like? I thought they will have like a car. Were they walking? Were they going to a bus?
They have never showed that they had a car.
No, but like I was thinking, like, oh, since they're going back home. Well, you never know how the other ones appear. Like when Harry, like the one that is a doctor, showed up, we don't know how they showed up.
Yeah, we don't know about him, but yeah, they never really showed them like in any sort of like transportation.
The only car we have seen is when Akito is passing by. But I was just assuming, like, oh, since they're like going back home, like they're supposed to be walking to the main house, right?
Yeah.
They don't have like a little luggage, like a little backpack.
No.
So were they really planning on actually going?
I think they were, because even Shigure doesn't have one. But I think, like, remember, they are a big family with probably a lot of money. So even if they go, they probably have like clothes or whatever. And the car part, I think, is a cultural thing. I do think that one's a cultural thing, because I've seen a lot of anime where there's a lot of walking. Like I rarely see them in cars. Unless like they're going to a different city or something, but they really do walk a lot, like no matter what, or like in a bike or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of walking, and it might not be as far as we think. They're probably like, oh, we'll just walk. And plus, like where Shigure lives, I never seen like a driveway either. You know, like there's a stairs, but I haven't really seen a driveway where a car can park.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's more cultural than because they are lacking money. And plus, I don't know if any of them drive. Also, I looked this up because I wanted to just see. The boys are 16 right now. So they're 16-year-olds. Hude is a little older than that. We don't know if they can drive. I haven't said anything about that. Anyway, next we see the Hana-chan comes and pays a visit to them, or like just encounters them in the street when they're walking, and kind of like talks to them about how maybe they're not really seeing through to Toru's act, and how she may seem like this happy, like she's okay, like she's got it, but she's probably not, because of, you know, she just lost her mom not too long ago. It really has not been that long. They still have not said it has like a year has happened already. So this is her first time she's alone without her mother, and now it's gonna be her first New Year by herself. Maybe she thought she was gonna spend it alone before, and now that she had this family, she's like, oh, maybe I'm gonna spend it with them, and that's not, you know, they couldn't do it. So it's probably probably feel sad about that. But the fact that she can't spend it with this newfound family, so she's going to spend it alone, which was something that maybe she feared, right? That's something that I noticed. And I'm just saying, I love Hana-chan because she's such a good friend. Like, I really do think these two are really, really great friends. And yeah, I do see how like she went and she convinced them to do that favor to Toru. But I'm like, if she really wanted to, she could have just been like, hey, Yuo-chan, let's go with Toru. Whatever. I don't care what she said. They could have gone. I don't think it necessarily had to be Kyo and Yuki. Just saying.
I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why she convinced them to go back.
I don't know how it's different from their friends. Maybe because she would consider them family. Like I really have.
I don't know. I think I'm just going off like every time like one of them appears or whatever, she's mentioning something about energies or like connections. So not that their friendship or whatever that is like emerging or coming up between these three, like Toru, Yuki, and Kyo, is better than their friendship, but she might sense like something like they do help each other in a way on like difficult times. So maybe that's why she wanted them to go. Or she felt like for Toru it would have been better them to be there. And like you said, like this newfound family versus them.
Maybe. I don't know. That doesn't convince me too much. I still think that it could have been her friends. But yeah. So next they find Toru in the house and she is in front, like she's on the table, she heard her mom, she was crying, right? And as soon as they walk in, she's playing it off. See that right away. She's just like, oh no, sorry, I was crying because, it's a sentimental time of the year and blah, blah, blah. Like this excuses, right? But what could really be going on here? Is she really just like, just because she was alone?
Well, I mean, when you lose I haven't lost my parents, so I don't know how that one goes. But when you lose someone important, it's not so, like, yes, you might go through those stages of that you're feeling depressed, but then there's also other moments where you do just cry because, like, that is like a New Year's, and maybe she had like a special tradition with her mom, or it's something different or difficult, where it's like the very first New Year's celebration that she's not having her mom there. So she might be okay with how her life is going, but at that moment, that memory of like, oh, my mom is not here. I wish, like, wishing that her mom was there. That can make you cry.
I think it's like a momentary thing.
Yeah. Or we didn't see how she felt, like how she went through the whole, like, losing her mom and how she dealt with it. Like, did she even fully, like, have her whole, like, went through the whole process of dealing or mourning her mom?
That's true. Yeah, we haven't seen that.
And if we are seeing how she is, like, she always try to focus on the positive, then that means that maybe she didn't let herself dwell too much on the sadness that it meant to lose her mom. So maybe that's why she still has that remnants of, like, little sad thing here and there. That could be a possibility.
That's true. Okay, we'll keep an eye on her. So yeah, like, the boys just tell her, like, yeah, we're here and we're gonna stay and we're gonna, let's eat first and then we'll watch the sunrise for New Year's. After that, we see this scene where Shigure gets to the main house, and then we see a few characters there. One of them, which we had not officially met yet, but we meet in the next episode. We already know who that is, Hataharu, or Haru-chan. So he sees them, and then he's just telling them, hey, the boys are not coming. And then they're like, ooh, like, some people are gonna be upset about that. Talk about Kito and Kagura, just like they predicted. So yeah, they just talk a little bit about that. And then we see Shigure go and see Akito, and then he's just like, he says this quote, like, it's good to see you. I'm glad to see you. I forgot what the first part of the quote is, but he's kind of happy to see that Akito is reaping what he sowed. He's like, nice little smile from Shigure about that. Do you have any theories, thoughts, opinions about this quote?
I hadn't even paid attention to that quote.
Oh, well, that's something that he said to Akito. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't know. It could mean so many things because there's a lot of loose ends.
Very many.
So, like, it could be like whatever, like, he knows something that's going on that maybe has to do with, like, Kyo and Yuki and Toru, and that he maybe constructed something or put them together for some way, but then he's making things to make them apart, or maybe he's talking about them as, like, the zodiac, whatever, like them being together and then him doing something that they now are not together. So I don't know. It could go maybe.
Yeah, this one's hard because, yeah, like you said, a lot of it missing information, but I just wanted to see. All right, after we cut back to the house of with Kyo, Yuki, and Toru, and they are eating, and they're just watching her eat carefully because they're worried that she's gonna choke. So it's really cute. And then Toru gets a call from Wo-chan, where she is just worried about her and just, checking in and seeing if she needs something, which, another act of kindness from one of her friends. So I'm just glad to see that Toru has good friends, right? And also, right here, we actually see a parent. We don't see many parents around here, but there's a parent. We see Uo-chan's parent, and then we see a little bit of an interaction with them. when he tries to drink another alcoholic beverage, and she's like, we only agreed on one.
Yeah, we see a parent, but still kind of because of that specific interaction, like we only agreed on one, and then she gets upset because he's not holding his end of the deal. There's like still she is like the responsible one, like the one that is taking care of the parent. Is that a parent and not like an older sibling?
No, she said, I think she has a dad or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, okay, interesting. We're gonna keep that in mind too. All right, and then the Yuki tells Toru that they actually saw Hana-chan, and well, they didn't really say, oh, she's the one that convinced us to come back, but it's hinted there.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna be the first one I tell Happy New Year to.
Mm-hmm.
After they go to the roof and they pretty much just watch that sun rise. And it's a really nice and cute moment. They make a wish and we just hear Kyo saying his wish out loud. Wants to beat Yuki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which he's like, good luck with that.
Yeah.
This was I think it was just like a really wholesome episode. It showed a little bit about what's going on, and I think it just showed like the relationship between these three characters and how it's getting stronger. That bond is getting stronger, and how they are prioritizing her or their families at the moment because they didn't go back. And we're gonna see.
That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they made such a big deal about like the dinner or this special like tradition, and we didn't get to see it. Like, what was the New Year's celebration?
Well, what do you think we didn't get to see it? Why do you think they don't want us to see that yet? Well, my guess would be...
Well, it could be that's where they all show one on, because then they have the families that are not family inside. Because I was thinking, you know how they mentioned, like, oh, the true form or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so then they can... First of all, you will meet all the Zodiac characters, and I'm assuming because they all appear at a specific, like, they have a reasoning why they appear. So maybe that's why, like, they don't want you to just see, like, oh, phew, there you go, you meet all of them. But then in the other one, like, so then that will have to, like, you will have to understand. You will see also, like, the interaction of all of them together.
Yeah. That's true.
And a lot of more things, like how's the dynamic of like the family who's inside and the family who's outside. Maybe you will meet the parents if they have parents. I don't even know.
I don't know. True. And I think like the main thing is like they want to keep those Zodiac spirit people away for a little bit and show them, when they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we went really quickly on this episode, but it's honestly those are the main points, and let's just go to the next one because I feel like the next one get a little more. The next one is called Yuki Was My First Love, and it was said by this new character that we were introduced by Hatsuharu or Haru, which I love this character so much. He's so funny. He's really is a kind person, right? And his personality is so interesting. And girls love this man. They love this man. So yeah. And he's actually a year younger. So he will be 15, just so you know. Even though like
that one
over here. Yeah. These ladies over here, like at the beginning of the episode, are like kind of like, oh, like let's go see, and like if we will go to a club with him or something like that. And then I'm like, well, he's so young. He's a high schooler.
Really? He looks
older. They say later on.
He looks older. I thought he was like around not Shigure's age, like right there, but just a little younger.
Yeah, he seems like that, but he's not. But yeah, he at the beginning he seems like this really cool guy and everything. He puts his gloves on, some goggles, and then he's on a bike. And I think that really sets the tone of the episode. Because this episode was more of a comedy relief, I would say, more than anything. Especially considering the episode that we watched a few episodes ago with Hattori and his backstory, which was a little more emotionally heavy. And this one is more like, let's just laugh, have fun, and like meet a cool ass character here. That's why I love this series, because it has those moments, like it has a little bit of everything, right?
It's so funny how you see like this mysterious guy. You see him like you said, like all interesting, and he looks older.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting for him to like ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then he comes with his bicycle.
Yeah.
I was picturing like Shigure riding the bicycle or something. But because he has the ears pierced, and the hair and the
The
style.
hair is
that he-
natural. The hair is natural. That's
No,
amazing.
I know, but like the way he like
Styles it.
has it, yeah, and then the clothing. I don't know. It was more like a motorcycle guy. But
It
then,
for sure. But oh my gosh, such a great opening. After that, we get the song. Then we get the theme song, and then we get like a scene with Toru, Kyo, and Yuki. They go to the supermarket, get some stuff, and Yuki and Kyo are fighting. And then this is when Toru tells us that her wish for New Year's was that these two get along better. And from what we've seen right now, it doesn't seem like it. Do you think that this might happen at some point during this year in the anime?
because of their temperaments, I feel like maybe we might be a maybe. That's like a huge maybe, a huge hope that maybe at some point they all get like a little, like they will have like a little moment where they seem like they're connecting like as friends or cousins, whatever they are. Like, they're making like that connection, but then no, they won't let it happen.
Okay, so you think
Because
they might get close,
but no, I just think, and that's a big maybe, a big wish. I hopefully, because you see how they are with Toru, which she's like a outsider. They don't really show that how connected they feel towards her. Like, they don't let it seem like it's always like, oh yeah, who cares? Like, she's fine, she'll be fine. But yet they're worrying about her. They don't let it know.
externalize it.
Yeah, they just like, they always pretend it's like, oh no. Even between them, they don't accept one to the other how important Toru has become for them.
Because that will,
When they went to look for her and all that, like, it was like, oh, we're just here because I don't know why. So I feel like they might have like a little moment, or like, oh, but then maybe not. And that's a big hope. That will be cute to see. Maybe they will understand each other a little better. Maybe.
We'll see.
But I don't know. That's a hope. Sometimes you hope like two people you care for get along.
Yes. So next they go back to the house, and then like Shigure tells Yuki, oh, like the bath is ready if you want to go, shower or whatever. And then he's like, oh, I'm actually not gonna do that today. And then he's like, you dirty boy.
But the way he says it.
I know. He's
like, OMG is a big thing.
Yeah, and Yuki says that he's feeling like he's getting sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really concerning to Toru. Like, she seems really, really concerned about this. And even if it's, like, he thinks it's just a cold or something like that, but she seems like this boy is about to die here or something, right? Or he's about to pass out for some reason. So seem like...
I feel that she is like that because she knows that when they are sick, they also turn.
Okay.
So, it's not like she got a cold. Like, if it was a regular person, you might, you're just getting a cold. But for them, there's a bigger thing. And then also it can be like, how she is overprotective, maybe.
That's just her nature.
To worry about other people.
Okay, good to know. And then we hear that Yuki's like, no, I'll be fine. And like they tell him that he can be in school maybe, and then he's like, no, because we have like the run thing that they're gonna do,
the mile or whatever, kind of like the equivalent of what we did here, like you run the mile.
This is like a big competition though for like the whole school, the sports something, I forgot what it was called. So yeah, and then Kyo is all excited about that because he forgot that that's happening, and then he's like, oh, that's happening, okay, and a competition, and he's all fired up. He's like, just take your meds and be ready tomorrow. And
Shoguri tells Yuki not to overdo it.
Yeah, because of the training. So then we see the next day at school, the girls are obsessed with Yuki's legs, which I guess poor guy. He's just trying to live his life, and people are over here like a little extra. Anyway, we see Toru and Yuki talking, and then she's just checking in on him, checking if he's okay. And then he's like, no, yeah, I'll be fine. Like, I can run. And he's like, if I don't, then Kyo is probably gonna be upset about that. And we see like Kyo over there still fired up. He's like ready for this.
So ready.
And then Toru gets like escorted away from Yuki by some of the girls in Yuki's fan club. We just take her. They're like, this girl is getting a little too close to the prince. Yeah, so we see that happening. She's getting her away and she's just like, okay. She's just letting herself get dragged. I'm like, this girl is really non-confrontational at all.
No.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So Uo-chan is not here because she said that she was gonna skip. And Hana is there, but the moment they start, this girl is like, I cannot take another step.
She hasn't even tried.
She goes dramatic and like Toru plays along with it. And then she's like, I'll just have to walk from here.
I know, it's a whole big moment. And she did one step.
Yeah, I love her. She's such a meme. And also, yeah, she's great comic relief in this already funny episode. But yeah, she's great. And the teacher's just like, crawl, walk, whatever you have to do, just start already. So later,
my PE teacher from 9th grade saying something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention one more thing. I wanted to mention that like we see the girls start first and then the boys after. And I'm just like, and then we just start at the same time. Maybe it's because it's a lot of people. I mean, either way it will be better because imagine like Kyo and Yuki running in a crowd of girls. Not a good. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's it's fine. I guess. Anyway,
it's not a good combination.
After the people start running, we see that Toru sees this person on the ground, on the grass, and because she sees the white hair, she thinks it's an old man. And she goes over to see if they're okay, and then she's like, oh, this is not an old man.
Nope.
young hunk. We discover right away that he's a Soma, and he plays this little trick on Kyo, where he trips him. And that's when we get to meet him, right?
He's another cousin
who got lost. Apparently he got lost for 3 days, so he's one of us because we get lost so easily. He's like, I tried to walk, it was Sunday, the 3 days passed,
and I'm here.
Yeah. So we meet him. He's Hatsuharu Soma, is a year younger than them, and he is the year, well, they don't tell us right away, but we find out a little bit. We find out his year. And he seems pretty chill, like the way that they meet him and everything. He starts to compose. Yeah, and he starts to talk to Kyo because he's actually there because he wants to fight. He's like, we were supposed to fight on New Year's, you didn't come, so it's time to do it. Like in the middle of you racing without your shoes off because you took them off. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, he's like, let's fight. Kyo's like, nah, I don't want to, not right now, whatever. I don't feel like it. And then Haru changes like in a split second, like to a completely different person, which is called
the dark Haru.
So we see like this other version of him
that doesn't have control.
He's really like cynical and he just really does not care. He just says whatever he has to say to get like a rise out of the other person, and it's more aggressive, I guess.
Yeah.
So we see that, and then we see like Kyo actually like start to be like, okay, fine, we'll fight. Yeah, and then they do compare him a little bit to Kagura and how like she's also really like excited and she changes like that. But Yuki says that he's much worse. Just I think maybe because of the comments that he makes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we see Kyo and Haru fight, and we see that Toru and Yuki are talking, and Yuki's just like, I do not want to get in the middle of this at all. Like
that's their thing.
Yeah, he's like, we can leave if you want, and then but she's still worried, so she's like, no, it's okay, whatever. Like they stay, and then she asks because like they're they both like martial arts, and that's why they're trying those moves and everything. And Yuki also knows martial arts. And then she's like, oh, like, you also learn martial arts? Like, do you also enjoy it? So we see this little flashback. So we see Yuki, like, just looking at Kyo and Haru as kids, practicing martial arts. And he's just looking there. So what do you think? What do you think is there? Or why do you think he's just looking right there? What do you think is happening in the scene?
Well, because it seems like he's isolated. Because he doesn't seem like he's, like, there with them. Like imagine like they all three were practicing together, and then it was like their turn to go together. Just like a sense, like a vibe.
Why
the
do you
way
think he will not be like invited, or like why do you think he's like isolated then?
family dynamics. I don't know. Or because you know how they say that he learns everything really fast and is better at it.
Yeah.
So maybe like because he might be more advanced, then you get isolated from the your peers that maybe are at a lower level.
Could
Or
be.
maybe he had like different expectations of what he needed to train on. I don't know their dynamics on how they go on their family.
Okay.
Like we have two from these three. We have two that are actually from the inside, and then we have one that is not from the inside. I mean, he is a zodiac. Well, he's not. Oh, he is. Well, he turns, but he's not from the 12 main ones.
Yeah. He's a cat.
So I don't know. It could be like a difference that they were raised like differently. That happens. This comparison. So there's like one cousin that gets over there left out.
Could be. Then we see this next thing that happens, where we see this scene, like it happened really quick in the anime.
Mhm.
We see like Yuki's looking at them, doing the martial arts and stuff, and then we see two hands like go over his eyes and then pull him back, and it felt like a scary movie in a way. It felt like one of those like suspenseful scenes, and then we see Yuki react to it. And he starts to just like,
faint.
Yeah, in other words, he just really gets sick right
Yeah,
there.
it was like probably it's a really painful memory.
Yeah, but what do you think? What do you think is there? Like, what is this? Why is this happening? Do you think it's actually like something that happened, or something that you just kind of imagined? He kind of like
it could have I don't know. It could have been something that happened. Because remember how in one of the episodes it's mentioned that I think that he doesn't like to go back home or whatever, because sometimes there's some painful memories on it. So we don't know, because we haven't really seen their upbringing. How was it, or what did they? Because if we think about it in the sense okay, they are these people. He's a member of this group, even though they say oh, we don't have power, so we don't have anything, but there's something sacred on that family. It's a powerful family that gets ruled by one person. So then it's we don't know they're because remember I kept asking you what is their role, what is their order.
Yeah.
So we have Akito, and then we have how do the other ones fall into that chain or that
hierarchy.
So we don't know how he was raised. Maybe he had to be raised to be something, or because of his skills, or because of the animal he turns into, the zodiac animal he turns into. Maybe he was hold to higher expectations. So then you don't know what he had to endure. Maybe he went to a special type of training, or things that he maybe lived. So it could have been that it was something that did happen that kept him isolated from his other cousins that had a more chill, normal life.
Chill, normal, quote unquote, because they're still turned to animals. Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I could totally see that. Great theory. I'm not gonna tell you whether you're right or you're wrong, anything about it, but it's a great theory, and I really like. Okay, so we see that Yuki's getting sick. Is really going through it right here, and Hatsuharu is well, we can't. He doesn't want to go to the Soma state, right? He's well, we can't take a taxi, because if he's this sick, then he could just turn into a rat in a taxi, and we can't. I think he's anyway. His solution was to carry him. So he hugs Toru, and then he turns into his animal, which is the year of the ox, which, in other words, right here, he's like a bull or a cow. I don't know. He looks like a cow to me.
He's a cow. He doesn't have horns.
He's a cow, but he's the year of the ox. And to carry Yuki on. But I'm just saying, why didn't she just hug Yuki, turn him to a rat, put him in a pocket, just carry him like that instead of a big...
I mean, I don't know who is that one, if he's still part of the dark.
No, he went back. He probably went back.
The normal one. But it's all of the other zodiac except Mohimuhi or Muhimuhi. That one. But a lot of them, they didn't turn as willingly, oh yeah, hug me, and boom, I'm gonna turn.
That's true.
This one just went yeah, I'm gonna save the day.
Yeah, he's oh, good thing you're cute, because at least I'm hugging someone who's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he turned to
what is his flow?
I'm like, dude, it could have been the tiger, it could have been the horse, it could have been, I don't know what other animals there are. I'm like, no, but you're the ox. Like I felt like the same thing that we felt at the beginning when we think it's gonna be like a motorcycle or something cool like that. It's actually a bicycle. Same thing happened here. Like
Maybe that's why he had his little ears pierced. You know how the cows they get our ears.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. He looks really cool either way. Then we see this little scene of just what's happening with Hana. Like we see actually a few scenes where we cut back to her. She's like reading in one of them, and then she's playing cards in the next one, and just doing nothing. Just a little, checking up on her. So then it gets to
when they're going like, oh, here it is again, or something like that. They do on that scene that it makes you feel like, oh, she's sensing that something's happening, but then it's just she's referring to the cards.
Yeah, she's something else. She's great. All right, so they go back to the house with Haru eating on Shigure's robe and carrying Yuki. And it just looks so funny. But they're there and they get Yuki to his bed and then they call Hattori so he can come over and look at him. And we see like Honda or Toru really concerned right here. Like she's really worried. Kyo doesn't really care. He's just there.
Yeah.
And then Shigure says, oh, I'm gonna go and grab his stuff and excuse him or whatever. And then we see like Toru's like, oh my gosh, Shigure is such a nice person and whatever. But he's like, Shigure's just thinking about high school girls at this point, which it's a little
disturbing.
It is disturbing. So that's something I wanted to mention because we might see some more, maybe not, of this
behavior.
This behavior, because he mentions this kind of stuff a lot. And the thing is that in Japan, the
age of consent,
yes, is a lot younger than over here. I believe it was like 13 or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
So like that an older man.
Yep. So that's why, or I think at some point I thought it was 11, but I think now it's like 13. I really don't know. Don't fact check me on that, but it is young. That's all I know. It is pretty young. Okay. So over there, it is something that it's more normal, I guess, normalized. So it is something that we have to keep in mind. Of course, over here, this will be really creepy for a grown man to go to high school and look at the girls.
Let alone the creepiness. It's illegal.
It is completely illegal. Yeah, but I mean, looking is different, right? Like you can't really go to jail for looking unless you're looking at them, in a certain way. But yeah. Anyway, either way, I just wanted to note that. So then we see that Haru turn back completely into like his normal self, and he's like, back to just being chill. And Kyo is like, okay, you don't want to fight, then I'm just gonna leave. And he dips out of there. So then we see Haru and Toru talk a little bit. We see this conversation they have, and he's talking about how he is in love with Yuki, or Yuki was his first love, and how like Kyo is also special to him, or like he also likes Kyo, but the special one here is Yuki. They talk a little bit about how he used to hate Yuki when he was younger, even before meeting him, because he would get called stupid because he was the ox, known for being stupid because the rat rode on him. And even though the ox was getting there first, the rat rode on him, and then when it was time to get there, he jumped off and then got there first. He outsmarted everybody pretty much. So this is something the people really people that know the secret really take this story into really seriously, that they even have these stigmas against the people that have that spirit, right? So yeah, so he goes and he even confronts Yuki about it. It's like, hey, because of you, I hate you, because of you people call me stupid. And you he had so much anger in him, and Yuki's like, well, are you stupid? And he's like, no. So you're not. He helped him realize that people are just saying things without even knowing you. So it was a really nice and cute scene. A little bit more that we see about Yuki, and
because it kind of made him realize oh, I'm being like them, so I'm blaming him, I'm doing the same thing that they did to me, they're calling me stupid without them knowing me, and I'm blaming him on something that I don't even I don't know who he is, I don't really know
without even knowing him. So yeah, it was something that he learned. So yeah, they had this conversation. They also did mention in this conversation, I did not put the picture here, but they did mention that he asks, he's like, does Kyo and Yuki still get into these nasty fights?
Yeah, they fighting every day.
Yeah, and Toru says that they argue, but they don't actually fight. So we do
Okay.
see a little bit of progress, even though the relationship is horrible. We do see a little bit of progress there, right? Which is something like he notices and he notes, oh, then it must be because of you. And then she's like, no, like she cannot take a compliment, homegirl. But yeah, she's like, no. And either way, he's like, I think like you are a special person to them, and let's test that out. So he tells her to do a little something.
We're just calling him by his name, his first name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, Yuki, good. And then Yuki blushes and turns into a little rat. Which just proves that maybe he wasn't ready for that, right? But that is something that I just found like so interesting, because I'm like, I don't understand why he's so embarrassed from her calling him by the first name. Like, I know it can be like maybe because only his family does it and he doesn't have anyone else do it, and it must be like this like next step that he hasn't gone with anyone, being close enough to anyone outside of his family in order to get to that stage of their relationship. That's what I think, but we'll see. So yeah, after that, we see another scene with Shigure and Kyo joining Hana-chan on that poker game, and also like the two other students that she was playing with, and the teacher was even there playing as well. And the end scene, which was with Hattori going over, or he was over at the house, and Hatsuharu was there because Kyo and Shigure actually got sick from playing poker all afternoon.
Yep, all of them are sick. Well, no, not all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, so you see Toru again right there worried, and
they're all sick.
Yeah, like as the dog and the cat. It's so cute to see them as their animal.
Yeah, telling you they'll turn into like cute little
things,
representation of the favorite animal that they have.
Anyway, is there anything else you wanted to mention about this episode? Any questions? Anything?
Yeah. No, my only thing is like I was expecting to see like, even if it was not the whole thing, but because they were making it such a like big deal that like the dinner or the special dinner would only like the Zodiac people come in. It's a tradition, this and that. So I was expecting to see a little bit of like what happened when Akito noticed saw that Yuki didn't show up to the dinner. Did Shigure made something, or did Akito get mad? Was it a problem that they didn't show up, or it was just like, oh, they didn't show up? Or did they had that, like, I don't know, like, did he kind of expect it? But because it's like, you are kind of like, I don't know, in some cultures, like certain family traditions or family celebrations, like you have to go with your family. If not, it's a big deal, and you might get like people feelings hurt. It's really hard when you choose to like, oh, I want to do this on my own, or I don't want to go to the family, whatever, casa la abuelita, we always go, like, or whatever. So then like with them, it's like, did anything happen? Like, or it was just like, whatever, like, or what if part of their celebration on New Year's as the Zodiac sign, like spirits or whatever, like what if like, okay, there's a new year, so like it's the year of whatever,
it was the rabbit.
So do they have like something special that they do because it's like a new Zodiac is gonna not take over the year, but like it's their year to shine? Like, I don't know, like what special thing they're making such a big deal, like, or the preparation of this New Year celebration, and then the dinner, and then you have two members, well, 1.5. I mean, the other one will miss the big celebration, but not the dinner, because anyways, he doesn't go. Like, is that what happened there?
Well, I can answer a few things. So they did say that the person that's like their year does a dance. That's why we see Momiji like in this like in a costume almost, or some sort of traditional wear, and they do a dance. So they did mention that. The rest didn't really mention like what they do. They say it's like they just get together and I think they eat. And as far as like how Akito reacted, they don't really say how he actually reacted, but they all kind of said he's not gonna react well to this. They were all aiming towards that. They didn't say how he actually reacted at the end. Did not see what Shigure told him at the end of like why they didn't go. We didn't see that either. But we might see it at some point, right?
Mm.
If we ever get to meet Akito, maybe we will hear about this. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will never
And
meet
like the
Akito.
parent, like I could just picture me missing on a family important thing, not showing up, and none of my parents giving me a call. Like, hey, what happened here?
Maybe they did and we didn't see it.
Maybe
We'll
That
see
was
about
just
that.
my
We'll see
comment.
about that. Don't worry. Maybe
I
we'll get
put,
some answers.
what happened on the dinner? The plates flew. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't know.
We'll see about that. Okay, either way, that's gonna be it for today. We're gonna be watching episodes 10 and 11 next. Number 10 is called It's a Valentine's Day After All, and it was said by Kagura. I'm pretty sure it was by Kagura. So we're gonna see what it's about. I'm so excited. Because at first I was like, oh, whatever, it's gonna be whatever. But then I'm like, oh wait, this is gonna be a nice episode. All right, so we'll see you guys then. For one listener.
For one listener.
For one listener. We'll see you later, and bye.
The end.